Welcome. So this is the start of a 4-lecture series. This is the first of 4 lectures on Islam. There will be 4 lectures. Today is the story of Muhammad, the big story of Islam. The second lecture we will talk about the Quran, the sacred text of Islam, and what's in it. On the third lecture, we will look at how opinions, we've seen this, opinions will vary and flourish, and we'll learn about Sharia law. We'll learn about the Shia-Sunni split, the big schism, the two big branches of Islam. And in the fourth lecture, we will bring it up to date. We'll look at the current issues. We'll look at some troubling issues. We'll look at the treatment of women. We'll look at this issue of jihad. And we will summarize Islam. So that's the next 4 lectures. Let's dig in. Let's set the stage. So the year is 570 AD. 570. The place, the Arabian Desert. If there's a color for Islam, it's the color of sand. This is, it's beige. We are talking about a God-forsaken area. We're talking about the Arabian Peninsula, where everything is scarce, where water is scarce, where survival is an issue. For their own protection, there are tribes. It's a very tribal area. Tribes, people band together in tribes for their own protection and to hold on to scarce resources. Within the tribes, there are clans. Clans are the extended family units, where your clan is your family of cousins and uncles, and you got to understand that the clans fight each other. Not the clans, the tribes in particular fight each other. They fight each other over scarce resources. It's almost the sport of the Arabian Peninsula at this time. You call them acquisition raids, where you would basically raid another tribe for food, for water, for women. This was the sport of the time. Acquisition raids. If there was a moral code, it was thou shalt not kill a member of your tribe. But other tribes are fair game. This is the place. Now, in the Arabian Peninsula, there are 2 basic economic structures. There is some agriculture. Look, there's got to be some food. The agriculture is centered around an oasis where there's an underground spring or water has been discovered. This is where the agricultural centers are. One agricultural center, which we will be talking about, the agriculture, is found in what will come to be known as Medina. Medina. At this time, it's actually called Yatrib. It will come to be called Medina. Medina means the home of the prophet. So ultimately, we're not there yet. So the name hasn't changed. Medina is an agricultural center. It is centered on an oasis. There are three major tribes there, and this will play into the story itself. We also have the issue of commerce. There is a trading component. The Arabian Peninsula is located on the trading route between, in effect, Europe, the west, and India in the east, and further east. It's called the Silk Road. It's a trading area. It's a place where caravans traverse the Arabian Peninsula. And so commerce and providing safety for the caravans, guiding the caravans, trading with the caravans so that the caravans have the resources they need, the food as they're traveling. It's almost a tourist industry. Commerce is centered, and one of the big cities is Mecca. Mecca is a trading center. Medina is an agricultural center. Mecca is a city. It does have an underground water source, and which enables it to flourish as well. But Mecca is primarily known for commerce. Now, Mecca also has that these tribes, not only are they do they war with each other, they're fairly pagan, and they all have their tribal religions, their tribal deities, their tribal idols. And there's an interesting phenomenon, and that is that there is a structure. It is located in Mecca, and it is called the Kaaba. The Kaaba. The Kaaba is a cube. Kaaba actually in Arabic means cube. Cube. It is a cube structure that is, I believe, 60 feet by 60 feet by 60 feet, something like that. This is out of your book, and it gives you some perspective because you've got a man standing there. It is a big stone building. There is an inner chamber. One of the characteristics of the Kaaba is that it also contains what is called the black stone. Scholars basically consider it a meteorite that fell from the sky, and therefore it was given supernatural type properties. The black stone is incorporated within the Kaaba, and the Kaaba is the home for approximately 360 idols. Idols. These pagan idols live, in effect, in the Kaaba. And so what's interesting about this is that it puts Mecca in an interesting position. And that is that these tribes will make pilgrimage to Mecca to worship their idols, to pay tribute to their idols. And as a result, there is this understanding between the tribes that Mecca is a no-war zone. Mecca is a place where no one's going to attack each other. There's this mutual understanding of that. And so Mecca benefits not only from its position in commerce and caravans and trading, but is this tourist destiny for pilgrimage to the Kaaba. And so it already, even back then, has this important place in the culture and the economics of the Arabian Peninsula. In 570 AD, with this backdrop, a child is born. This is the birth of Muhammad. Muhammad is born. He is born in Mecca. He is born in Mecca to the, he is a member of the Hashim clan of the Quraysh tribe. Now, the clan that he's born in, the Quraysh tribe in Mecca, so the Meccan tribes are, they've got this, this huge commercial resource, namely the Kaaba. And the Hashim clan, Muhammad's grandfather was involved in the development of the spring under Mecca. And so the Hashim clan, one of its economic resources is that it provides water to the visiting tribes visiting the Kaaba. In a sense, it's their franchise, so to speak. So so he's born into an influential clan in a very influential tribe, in an influential city, which is the city of Mecca, associated with the Kaaba. This is the background of Muhammad's birth, except that even before his birth, his father has died. His father dies. He is born to his mother. One of the customs, so Mecca is this commercial city, and one of the customs was that, especially if you were in a well-to-do clan and a prosperous tribe, you would have a Bedouin wet nurse your child outside of the city. The feeling was that it was healthier. The city was crowded and dirty, and so you would give your baby to a Bedouin wet nurse, and they would be raised in the sort of the peace and quiet of literally the desert. And so Muhammad spends 6 years with a Bedouin tribe, and this will be influential, with his wet nurse. He comes home at the age of 6, home to his mother, home at 6 years old, and soon there, right at pretty much the same time, and his mother dies. Muhammad is an orphan at the age of 6. He goes to live with his grandfather. Now, his grandfather is a prominent, the head of the Hashim clan. He goes to live with his grandfather, and at 8 years old, at 8, his grandfather dies. Leaving him alone. This is not an auspicious start to Muhammad's life. his grandfather dies, and he goes to live with his uncle, and his name is Abu Talib. Abu Talib. Abu Talib, still a member of the Hashim clan. Abu Talib is fairly well-to-do. He's involved in the caravan business, and Abu Talib takes Muhammad under his wing. Muhammad is sharp. Muhammad is really likable. He's got a great personality, and even though he's been through all of these issues, his uncle takes him under his wing and takes him on caravans as he's growing up, and he is exposed to Abu Talib's business. So Muhammad ends up, in effect, in the caravan business, and one of his customers was a wealthy widow. Her name is Khadija. Let me get the spelling right. K-H, there's the H. Khadija is a wealthy widow, about 15 years older than Muhammad. Muhammad handles a caravan project for her. She's really impressed, and at the age, Khadija is 40. Muhammad is 25. It's 595. In 595, they marry. Muhammad marries Khadija, older woman, and look, this is important. There are some skeptics and some critics that would say that it was an advantageous marriage for Muhammad. He married well, and but in all honesty, all of the evidence is that this was a very happy marriage. This was Muhammad takes no other wives, and that's unusual for someone well off in the Arabian Peninsula, while Khadija is alive. We will talk about that. They together, they have, even though she's 40 in the Arabian Peninsula, they have 2 sons and 4 daughters. Together, except that the 2 sons will die in infancy. Now, we've talked a little about that. The boys with poor sanitation are vulnerable. The 2 sons die in infancy. Muhammad loves his 4 daughters. He dotes on them. He is a good father, and it's important to note that of the 4 daughters, we're not going to go into lots of details and all the names, but there is an important one. And her name is Fatima. Fatima is sometimes described as Muhammad's favorite daughter. Fatima will play into this story. We'll get there in a moment as the plot thickens. So, Muhammad is running a caravan business. Muhammad has a family. Muhammad, a couple of other, one story is that Khadija, as basically a wedding present, gives Muhammad a slave boy named Zaid. Zaid is a slave, is a gift from Khadijah, a wedding gift. And when it comes time, this is part of the slavery issues, is that you can work your way out of slavery. Zaid, when it comes time for Zaid to receive his freedom, he wouldn't leave. He wouldn't leave. He loved Muhammad so much that he would not leave, and ultimately Muhammad will adopt him. Adopted by Muhammad. It's called Muhammad. And Zaid will be one of the, an influential, not an influential, but he will be one of the early followers of Muhammad's teachings. And so this will become a name, and that is the story. And that pays tribute to the kindness of Muhammad. Is made out to be kind. Another story goes basically that Khadijah had to manage the finances sometimes because Muhammad would just give it all away. Muhammad was very generous. Muhammad was very well liked. A great father. And then there's another little story here that we need to get in because it's a setup, and that is that his uncle, so this is now a little bit later, and his uncle, Abu Talib, falls on hard times. His business isn't going so well while Muhammad's is flourishing. And so another name, the name is Ali. Ali is the son of Abu Talib, which basically makes him Muhammad's cousin. Abu Talib is his uncle. The son of his uncle is Muhammad's cousin, but Ali is much younger. This is a much younger child of Abu Talib. Was older at the time that he had him, with I don't know which wife, but Ali, when Abu Talib falls on hard times, Ali goes to live with Muhammad at the age of 5. At the age of 5, Ali moves in with Muhammad. Ali is Muhammad's cousin. Much younger, obviously. I'm going to give you a hint of what is to come, because the two names are on here already. This will come to pass this will develop in the third lecture. Just as a hint of things to come, Ali will marry Fatima. Ali will marry Fatima, and Ali will become not only Muhammad's son-in-law, cousin, but son-in-law when Ali marries Fatima. And that will play into the Shia-Sunni split. It's just it's a coming attraction, so to speak, to the story. Now, the year, this is what's going on basically between 595 and 610. So this is the first 15 years, family man, flourishing business for the most part, takes in his cousin, adopts his slave, and has 4 daughters, and they're living okay till the year 610. Muhammad is 40 years old. In the year 610, now Muhammad had a habit. He had a habit of getting away. getting away from the pressure. He'd come back from a caravan or a business trip or whatever, and he would steal away. He would steal away to a mountain. He had a little mountain retreat called Mount Hira, where he would retreat into a cave, a Mount Hira cave, and he would just chill out. He would relax. He would, in my context, he would meditate there. Now, for those of you that went to my meditation workshop, you learned kind of my little meditation technique, which I called Meditation Plus, where I teach that meditation is about tuning the mind. It's like an asana for the mind. We put the mind in. We're trying to train the mind. There is the tuning part, which is the first 10 minutes. And then there's the playing of the guitar in the second 10 minutes. We tune the guitar, we play it. We tune the mind, we work with the mind, we use the mind. We play that instrument. And that second part, and I jokingly tell you that what brings me back to a daily meditation is always the second part, that learning part, where I get the insights from. This is after I've tuned, I see things much more clearly, and in that clarity come insights. I could say even revelations. And so in 610, in his little mountain retreat, his cave, he has what Muhammad will describe as the first revelation. The first revelation. That's an E and a V. The first that's an L rather. The first revelation. And it's overwhelming. Now, I just think it's the second part of a meditation, but for Muhammad, the first word in the revelation from one take is that this is the angel Gabriel, another is that it is God himself. The God is Allah. Allah. First revelation of Allah. Allah. By the way, will be important. Allah in Arabic. The. Allah basically translates into the God. The God. The big revelation is that Kaaba with 360 idols. Interestingly, one of those gods that live in the Kaaba is Allah. Up until now, he's considered one of the gods. Allah talks to Muhammad, either directly or through the angel Gabriel, depending on which way you want to take that. And he is basically, the first word is recite. Recite. In effect, dictate. This is a recitation. The word Quran, write it down, it's written multiple ways. The word Quran means recitation. In effect, God saying to Muhammad, take notes. Take notes. I taught you that in meditation. You should have a pad of paper and take notes. This is how I relate to this. It's a little personal. Hopefully not sacrilegious to a Muslim, but this is exactly the practice that I follow and teach. And it overwhelms Muhammad. It overwhelms Muhammad. By the way, this will take place in the month of Ramadan. Ramadan will become the holy month because it was the month in which the first revelation was revealed, in which the revelations began. The month of Ramadan. You'll see, we'll talk about the Muslim calendar. He is shaken up. Muhammad doesn't know where this came from. It was dramatic. It came with fireworks, and the description in the Quran of the first recitation is psychedelic. Let's put it that way. And he's shaken up. He is shaken up, and who does he go to? He returns to the arms of Khadijah. And Khadijah believes him. Khadijah believes him. This revelation about the God, the one God. This is in effect another Abraham story. The revelation of monotheism to Muhammad, the realization that there's only one God. And that God is talking to Muhammad. And so the revelations begin. Zaid and Ali believe him. His family consoles him. And they're really interested in what these revelations are saying. And so the revelations continue. They begin in the year 610 when Muhammad is 40, and they continue, and he begins sharing really quietly at first, because part of what he is learning is really problematic for Mecca. It is problematic for the Quraysh tribe. To have Muhammad coming back from this mountain and saying, there's only one God, when the economy, when the wealth of the Quraysh tribe, in effect, is garnered from the 360 idols living in the Kaaba. To say that those idols are no one, nowhere, not to be worshipped, would be revolutionary and would jeopardize the economic advantage that the Quraysh tribe has. So these teachings were not well received outside of his close family. In fact, as he began sharing them, the elders of the Quraysh tribe tried to silence him. And he was protected by his uncle. Abu Talib was his protector. Abu Talib was his benefactor. Abu Talib had, just because his business had floundered a little, and Ali had come to live with Muhammad. Don't forget, Abu Talib was older as well, so it was probably better for Ali to come and live with a younger father, so to speak, a younger father figure. And so Abu Talib was getting older. But Abu Talib was well respected and protected Muhammad, even though what Muhammad was saying was economically dangerous to the rest of the tribe. And this goes on the next big year, 619. 619 will go down in Islam as the year of sorrow. The year of sorrow. Why? In 619, first Khadijah dies. Now, Muhammad is 49, Khadijah was 64. Khadijah dies. And on the heels of that, his uncle Abu Talib dies. He is left without protection. He is left without comfort. The year is 619, the year of sorrow in his life. And things turn worse for the next few years. There's no one to protect him. He has been giving these teachings. He had been ongoing revelations in these years. They become known as the revelation, the Meccan revelations. The word will be surah. You'll learn that in the next lecture. The Meccan surahs, the surahs when he was living in Mecca, the teachings when he was living. That's not what surah means. You'll get it tomorrow, next lecture. So from 619 to 622, the persecutions begin. He and his followers are persecuted. He has one influential follower. He's got his family, he's got Ali, and he's got Zaid. He had Khadijah. The teachings that he's giving are really, this is similar to what we've learned about Jesus. They're popular with the poor. A big part of his message is that God is there for everyone equally, not by how big a sacrifice you can bring to the Kaaba, was it to the idols in the Kaaba. This is his message is stirring unrest. He's gained followers among the poor. He did gain one influential follower. That name will come to be important, and that was, I'm going to throw it in here, gains an influential follower named Abu Bakr. Abu Bakr. A name to play in with Ali, and it'll play in with Fatima, and Abu Bakr is an early influential follower, and when we get to this issue of successor to Muhammad, these are going to be it's going to be part of the story, so I'd like to slide his name in here. And in 622, by 622, the persecution has become really overt. There is a plot to kill Muhammad that he learns about. Many of his followers are forced to leave and avoid persecution. And so I will back up for a moment now and just set this stage with that understanding that there is another area, another city that is called Yatrib, will become Medina. Medina is an agricultural city about 275 miles northeast of Mecca. And in Medina, there were 3 tribes. I set that stage. It's an agricultural center. It's based on an oasis. And there were 3 tribes. And understand that Muhammad has been in the caravan business. And so he has made many trips to Medina. And his charisma, his wisdom, he was able, this is a source of resources for his caravans, he was able to negotiate a truce among the 3 tribes of Medina. He was able to bring them together. He was highly respected there because of his position and the truce he was able to bring to them. And in this area, his teachings, his revelations are well received. They're well received, and so he's well liked. He's already sown the seeds for a soft landing, and so in 622, this will become known as the Hijra, the exile. This is when Muhammad leaves and moves to Medina. He flees Mecca. This is the year of exile. It is called the Hijra. The Hijra, the exile. His exile to Medina, the Hijra. Understand the importance of this. The entire Muslim we talked about in the Jewish calendar, the years begin from Adam and Eve. They begin from 3760 BC. In the Muslim calendar, it begins with the exile. All years in the Muslim calendar will be designated AH. In effect, for us, after the Hijra, 623, year 1, AH. In 2022, just so I can do the math really easily, in 2022, it will be the year 1400 AH in the Islamic calendar. 622, he flees to Medina. The exile to Medina. He will live in Medina in relative, where he can live in relative peace, avoiding the persecution of the in Mecca, and he will gain even more popularity in Medina. He will become strong. He will have the forces of these tribes behind him. From the revelations continue. The revelations do not stop. The revelations after 622 will become the Medina revelations. So in the Quran, we'll get to that in the next lecture, there are the Meccan revelations and the Medina revelations, and so they will continue from 622 to 628. He will continue to unite tribes. He will bring Allah, the message of Allah. There will be some military conquests. He's got these tribes behind him, and he gains the support of more tribes. There are skirmishes between Medina and Mecca. They will fight each other. There's a number of battles. If you're interested, you can. If you're interested, by the way, this is the book I highly recommend. Karen Armstrong wrote a book called Muhammad. Karen Armstrong, I know her from Chautauqua, where I teach every summer. This is my favorite book on the life of Muhammad. I think she did a great job. She really gives you the background, what's going on in the background, and really sets the stage, and she really gives you a great understanding. In 628, he basically moves on Mecca. He makes his move against Mecca. He wants to make. He vows to return to make pilgrimage. He hasn't been back. He vows to make pilgrimage to the Kaaba, where Allah is ensconced, although Allah is with him. In 628, he vows to make pilgrimage. He is rebuffed, but they reach a truce, saying that he can come back the next year and make his pilgrimage. In 629, so this is in 628. He attempts pilgrimage. In 629, under a truce. He makes pilgrimage to Mecca, his first in quite a while, but the truce is broken, and in 630, he returns with his military. He returns with his military. And Mecca surrenders. Part of this, he goes into the Kaaba and he destroys the 360 idols. Destroys the idols. Establishes the pilgrimage rules, establishes the Muslim calendar, and in 632, okay, so I set the stage when I introduced Abu Bakr. Abu Bakr, this early influential follower from Mecca of Muhammad. Abu Bakr remains one of his most influential followers and advisors. They work together. After the death of Khadijah, it was, by all indications, it was a loving marriage. By all indications, Khadijah made Muhammad very happy. He took no other wives, as powerful as he was becoming, so to speak, or as influential. After Khadijah's death, he will take some wives. Some are advantageous in terms of tribal alliances. But one of those wives is the daughter of Abu Bakr. and her name is Aisha. In 632, Muhammad dies. He dies of natural causes in the arms of Aisha. Aisha, his 18-year-old wife, the daughter of Abu Bakr. He dies in 632. You've heard this before. It will set the stage for the next lecture. I'm going to tape it tomorrow. No successor. He hasn't appointed a successor. Opinions will flourish. Islam will develop. We'll talk about, actually it's not for tomorrow's lecture, it's going to be for the third lecture on Islam when we come back to this, because one of the issues is going to be who takes over, and the two in effect claims. One is Abu Bakr, who has become Muhammad's father-in-law and an influential follower. The argument is that Abu Bakr basically deserved to take over. He would be the meritorious successor. And the other issue is, how about Ali? Ali is Muhammad's son-in-law and cousin, and his closest male blood relative. And who takes over is going to ultimately result in the Shia-Sunni split. So, a precursor of things to come in the third lecture. Some of these names intertwine and they're important. The life of Muhammad, the birth of Islam. We'll talk about what Islam means tomorrow. We'll talk about the collection of revelations, which is called the Quran. Have a great day. Stay safe.